Hey, Liv.
Hi.
Hey, how are you doing?
That was so bad.
Yeah, the parts of it that didn't go so great. But I think there were parts of it that were pretty good too. And so, let's just get started, all right?
Okay.
Let's talk about what your big takeaway was, and then go through and evaluate how you did on it.
Okay, takeaway.
From last week.
I'm sorry, I'm just so foggy. I feel like I've been hit by a truck. So my takeaway was that I was going to increase student on-task time by focusing on and noticing and responding to student misbehaviors. There were a lot of them.
Yeah, plenty of opportunities. How'd you do?
Well, it was pretty much a disaster. I feel like I didn't really hit the things I needed to hit, right? I mean, like, it was pretty overall a mess. And, like, I didn't redirect, I didn't demerit. Like, I don't know why I didn't demerit, but I didn't demerit. I didn't really think I did anything well. And I just feel so awful because, like, it's a complete waste of learning, and like nobody really.
Let me jump in here, right? I think you might be overstating it just a bit. I think there's some good things that happened in this class too. So, going back to your criteria for success, right? You had 4 of them, and there were 2 of them that I thought you absolutely nailed. First, you used the dock arm instead of the whiteboard, so you were facing out to the class, right? That was awesome. And then you increased your wait time and scanning after each of the questions you asked.
Although, like, I don't know, it's all a blur, but I think that the wait time just ended up, like, causing kids to go more nuts. And I just feel, I don't know, like, I felt like it was taking hours to do the wait time of 5 seconds.
And when you were waiting, the time just felt like it was going, and...
Yeah, and I just noticed, like, everyone like blowing up and talking and whispering, all the whispering.
Yeah, but honestly, that was the point though, right? Was that you wouldn't get a chance to notice those things, and yeah, I think you could do a better job at responding to those behaviors. But the first step is that you catch them.
You're right. I could have done a better job at responding to them. I'm just so bad at that.
Okay, well let's talk about that. Try not to beat yourself up too much, right? Like, this is part of the process, is that you struggle for a little bit and then you get better. So let's just talk about what happened and then focus on what we're going to do next time to make it better. Why didn't you engage with those behaviors when you saw them? What happened? You looked right at them.
I don't know. I just think, like, I really struggle to, like, be authoritative in my voice, and I'm scared of what kids' reactions will be if I give demerits. I don't know, that's part of it, but part of it is just, like, I feel like I'm juggling, like, a million balls and dropping, like, 999,000 of them.
Hey, Liv.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Good. So let's talk a little bit about today. Let's start with the big takeaway. You tell me what it was, and then tell me how you think you did.
Sure. So my big takeaway from last week that you assigned was to improve on-task time during the do now and the guided practice by noticing and responding to student misbehavior.
Yeah, and tell me how you think you did there.
I thought it went pretty well.
Yeah.
I feel like I nailed it today. I had a good feeling. Good vibe.
Okay. I'll be honest, I disagree. I don't think you nailed it. I think there's some good things.
Okay.
But I also think there's some things that you still need to work on. Okay?
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about the good things first. One was, you used the dock arm instead of the whiteboard. That's fantastic. You saw a lot more of the class. And then, the other thing was, your other criteria for success that I thought you were awesome at was you waited after each question. And that gave you a chance to pause, look around, see what kids were doing before you moved on with the next question. Both of those were really great. Did it feel different to you doing those?
Different? Not really. I mean, it was okay, and I did them purposefully, right? Because you asked me to do it.
I did.
I don't think it really impacted the class that much, but I thought it was okay. No big change.
Okay, well, I definitely want you to keep doing them. The other two criteria for success I don't think you did as well on, and that was laying out clear expectations, including consequences, and then responding with consequences when you saw misbehavior. Tell me what you're thinking. It seemed like you thought this went better than I did.
Oh, I can totally see why you'd think that. Because, granted, like I think I set expectations, but I didn't really follow through with the consequences. But I can completely see how an outside person would think that. But like, I know my group of kids, and I had them last year and I have them again this year, and this is a particularly like sensitive group. They've grown a lot. Like last year they weren't even sitting in their chairs, and this year like I'm seeing them grow like leaps and bounds. And so a little off task murmuring, like I'm willing to kind of let slide, because I think that sometimes, particularly like Henry, Rory, Edgardo, Siobhan, all of them kind of blow up if I give a demerit. And I really am thinking about them holistically, and want them to be engaged in class.
Let's take Rory and Henry. Right?
Okay.
Okay. Because I don't think they were about to blow up. They looked like they were calm, just calm and naughty, and they started whispering to each other right in front of you.
You're right. They are so calm in my class, and that is like a culture that I've established. But if I were to demerit them, I think then you would see the blow up. And frankly, I'd rather them be in my class than the dean's office.
Hey, Liv.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Yep.
All right, then. Tell me about it. Let's get into this. Let's start with your big takeaway from last week.
Okay, so my takeaway was to improve on-task time during the do now and guided practice by noticing and responding to student behavior.
Yep. Tell me more. How'd you do?
So I definitely think there was off-task talking and side conversations. I definitely noticed it. It was a little bit out of control.
Yeah.
A little bit out of control. And so I can't believe you actually saw that class. My second period, spot on.
Really?
Yep. But this class, it was like third period, right after lunch. And then there was Brian.
Yeah?
Yep, Brian derailed the entire class. He was acting out of control. He was bonkers.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he brought something to this class.
Yep. So I think like he's usually not that way, and so I think that the kids came in after lunch and they'd just been at recess and they were all hot and sticky and sweaty children.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't get centered and focused. And like I set the expectation that I remember that was one of the things he wanted me to work on. I set that expectation. But man, oh man, they were out of it.
Gotcha. Yeah, there were a few things I wanted you to work on.
Okay.
Right? So setting the expectation, you're right, that was one of them.
Right.
Then there were a couple that you did great, right? Like,
okay.
Used the dock arm instead of the whiteboard. That was awesome. You saw a lot more of the class. And then you used wait time really well too. And I think that you'd ask a question, scan. You saw a lot more of what was going on.
Right.
Right. You know, where I think you could still improve the things I don't think you did as well were, you know, making sure you set the expectations with consequences they would earn, and then delivering those consequences whenever you saw misbehavior.
Well, I was going to have to demerit the entire class because they were all a little out of control, right? And I think it's just there's so many factors going on. I just wish you could have seen my second period.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wish I would too, because
I don't really think it's about the lesson, and I don't really think it's about me setting expectations. It was about like the state of the union, you know?
Yeah.
It was just a mess, hot mess.
What about these strategies that we agreed you were going to do? Don't you think they make a difference in how the kids behave?
Oh, totally. But like, yeah, like I said, I would have had to demerit every child multiple times.
Let's just take one example, right? Rory and Henry start whispering pretty much right in front of you. You don't do anything.
Right.
Why is that? Tell me about that.
I mean, Henry was having a really bad day.
Yeah.
And I knew that. So, you know, and I also think like everybody else was talking. You say I might have noticed it, but it was crazy.
Hey, Liv.
Hi.
So, thanks for being here. Let's go ahead and get started. Tell me about what your big takeaway was for last week. Tell me how you did.
Great. So my big takeaway was to improve on-task time during the do now and the guided practice by noticing and responding to student misbehavior.
Cool. And how do you think you did?
Well, there was still a lot of off-task behavior. I noticed like a lot of whispering. You know, I don't think I was perfect by any means, but just part of me thinks that the students aren't super engaged right now. And I'm so excited about the unit that I'm planning for next unit. Like the next unit, I'm just planned all these awesome student-centered activities and performance-based assessment. I'm just like really, really pumped. And I think like, you know, a good lesson will result in like less off-task behavior, right? A good lesson is behavior management. So I'm pretty psyched overall. But I definitely saw there are some things I need to work on.
Gotcha. So, I mean, you know, I agree, right? Like a lesson absolutely has an effect on behavior management.
Right.
And how your kids are acting.
Right.
But you still, even if it's not a perfect lesson, even if it's not like all those great things we saw down the road, you still, even on a lesson like today, it was good, right? You still have a lot of agency in controlling how the kids behave, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Cool. So let's go back to your criteria for success. You had 4 of them.
Yep.
Right. And see how you did. So
Okay.
2 of them I thought you were fantastic at, right? You used the doc arm instead of the whiteboard.
Yep, that was super helpful.
Yeah, you saw a lot more. And
Good.
then the second thing was you took a lot of, you waited after each question. And I think that let you see an awful lot more about what the kids were doing too.
Yeah, wait time is awesome.
Yeah, you're all in on that?
Mm-hmm. All about the wait time.
That's great. It's awesome. The last 2 though, you know, that was like giving really clear expectations, including the consequences you were going to give.
Yep.
And then giving those consequences whenever you saw misbehavior.
Right.
To me, it felt like there were a few opportunities where you saw behavior and didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got to get better about that. I'll work on that for next time. Yeah.
Can you say a little bit more about that? So, like, let's take one specific instance. Rory and Henry talking right in front of you. You don't demerit them. Why not?
That's a really good question. I think, you know, it's something that I'm just working on, and I think I sort of felt like they've gotten better throughout the year at doing less off-task talking. Yeah. So I sort of was fine with it, but, you know, I don't really know, but like I will definitely work on it for next time.